Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to the Gundam Lorecast, where we take a deep dive into the Mobile Suit Gundam series, such as the multiple timelines, mobile suits, characters, and so much more. Welcome back, pilots, to another episode of the Gundam Lorecast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria, and always with me is my good friend, Jesse.
How's it going, everybody?
And we are bringing you another protagonist mobile suit, which this one's a hefty one, because it is the Zeta Gundam, which is in 2 different series, why it's a little bit more heftier. So, the Zeta Gundam is the titular mobile suit of the anime Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta. It's also featured in Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta, which makes sense because, Double Zeta. Yeah. Which Zeta is the sequel to the original Gundam series. So, just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Right.
That's the UC for you. Unless you're talking about G-Quicks, which is different. A new episode of that, by the way, is out now, which is something I could actually watch and not already saw in theaters, which is great.
Yep. It is good.
I still don't like how the English is G-Quacks. No, it's G-Quicks.
Yeah, G-Quacks is a little weird for me.
G-Quacks makes it sound like a duck. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. So, diving right into the Zeta, we have its technology and combat characteristics. So, developed as part of Project Zeta, a 3rd-generation mobile suit development plan launched by the Anaheim Electronics upon request from the AUG. The Zeta Gundam was a revolutionary transformable mobile suit, TMS, while Anaheim's previous attempts of creating a TMS, the MSN-001 Delta Gundam, failed due to the issues with the transformable moving frame. The Zeta Gundam solved this problem by studying the design concept of the RX-178 Gundam Mark II's movable frame, which had an excellent basic design. In addition, it adopted Gundanium Y ally, or what's the Y stand meaning? Omega? No.
It's not Omega.
I can't remember what scientific.
Is that the symbol for Zeta?
It might be Gundanium Zeta alloy armor. I'm gonna say it's Zeta. I don't. It's Y. I can't remember what it's. Hence in that.
I will check.
Previous used by Anaheim's RMS 099 Rick Diaz.
Epsilon.
Gundanium Epsilon. Okay, good to know. The Zeta Gundam was capable of transforming into a cruising mode known as Wave Rider mode. In this form, the Zeta Gundam adapted a wedge-shaped concentrating the shockwave generated by a supersonic flight underneath it as riding the resulting wave, hence its name. In this form, it was capable of entering the atmosphere without any optional equipment, thanks to the flying armor mounted on the movable frame on its back, which protected it from the shockwave and heat during the atmospheric entry. The flying armor was based on the data of the support vehicle of the same name, which could be replaced with the other equipment, such as the wing binders and the wave shooter specification. The wave rider mode could also function as a sub-flight system for other mobile suits, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Due to the Zeta Gundam's complex transformation mechanism, it is impossible to mount generator on its upper body. Instead, it was equipped with a generator in each shin, a design concept inspired by the RX-78 GP-01 FB Gundam. Oh God, Zephyrangath?
Zephyrangies.
Full burner. Its legs were also installed with thermonuclear jet/rocket hybrid engines, which were capable of functioning both in space and in the atmosphere, while allowing the Zeta Gundam to engage in aerial combat immediately after atmospheric entry. Which is pretty cool, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The Zeta Gundam's weapons were highly systematic and presented almost no hindrance when carried. It was armed with a pair of head-mounted Vulcan guns, a pair of beam sabers stored in the side skirt armor, and served as beam weapon guns in the Wave Rider mode. A pair of forearm-mounted grenade launchers, an E-Pack powered beam rifle, a shield attached to the left forearm that served as the Wave Rider's nose unit, and the Hyper Mega Launcher, a powerful beam weapon developed by the MSN 00100 Hakashiki's Mega Bazooka Launcher. Thanks to these weapons, it was capable of handling nearly all battlefield situations. So, it's impressive.
Very.
So finally, the Zeta Gundam was equipped with the biosensor, a quasi-Psychomu system that insisted the mobile suit's controls using the pilot's brainwaves, improving its responsiveness, though details about the device was unclear, and there were instances of it allowing Zeta Gundam to demonstrate abilities beyond its specifications during combat. Overall, the Zeta Gundam had exceptionally high operability and was regarded as a masterpiece of the GIPS conflict era. Yeah, because it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the armaments, which there's a lot. So we have the MU-86G 60mm Vulcan guns. A pair of Vulcan guns mounted in the Zeta Gundam's head. They are fired 60mm ballistic rounds at high speed and could potentially deal lethal damage to an enemy unit at extremely close range. The Vulcan guns used liquid propellant caseless ammunition. These weapons were unusable in the Wave Rider mode as the head was stored in the body. So,
it looks really goofy to me.
Yeah. So we have the two-tube grenade launcher. So a pair of two-tube grenade launchers were built in the Zeta Gundam's forearms. These weapons could deal lethal damage to enemy units with accurate hits and were most effective at close range. Since the grenades themselves were a certain degree of propulsion and homing capabilities, they were more akin to missiles. It was also possible to remove the grenades from the launchers and threw them like hand grenades, that's cool. Each forearm's grenade launcher normally carried 4 rounds, but their ammo capacity could be extended with optional magazines that carried 19 rounds, though they were also had to be removed when transforming. As the Zeta Gundam's forearms were fixed facing the rear of the Wave Rider mode, the grenade launchers had little use in this mode. They were said to be exclusively for the use of mobile suit mode. So, I mean, if you can't really use them in Wave Rider mode,
yeah.
I mean, so in Wave Rider mode, the Zeta doesn't have a lot of weapons. Just heads up.
Right.
So now we have the anchor wire. So it's an anchor wire launching unit containing a pair of anchor wires equipped in the place of grenade launcher explosive warheads. The wires are mainly used as immobilizing enemy units.
Like a bola, kind of.
Yeah. So now we have the AE Blash XBG 35-/DU-105 Beam Saber. So a Beam Saber developed specifically for the Zeta Gundam. Its output was several times higher than the standard beam saber. A pair were stored on the side skirt armor and could function as beam guns in a Wave Rider mode. However, the beam guns' output was low, and they were mainly used for the distraction and disruption. The length and power of the beam saber's beam blade can be greatly enhanced when Camille's new type powers are amplified by the biosensor. Yeah. Camille
Shouldn't
has
have done that, to
special
be honest.
powers, I guess. Which she does.
I mean,
Oh,
based off the end result, maybe Camille shouldn't have used those special powers.
because it becomes a vegetable, yeah. So now we have the XBR M87A2 beam rifle. So made by BOA, the custom beam rifle had a power rating of a 5.7 MW, though it was powered by a standard energy pack, the same one used by the Gundam Mark II's beam rifle. Its beam convergence rate and penetration power were superior. It could also emit a beam blade from its barrel, turning into a long beam saber at close range combat. In Wave Rider mode, the beam rifle could be mounted on the long tail Venner stabilizer with the barrel retracted and the stock folded. In Mobile Suit mode, the rifle could be stored on the side of the forearm and when not in use. In the improvised attack known as the Beam Confuse, devised by Camille while battling the Cubile, the beam rifle was fired at the beam blade of a spinning beam saber thrown earlier, resulting in a diffused beams and destroyed several of the Cubile's funnels.
Which is a really cool visual in the show.
Yeah, oh yeah. Now we have the FFXV SH609Z shield. So the Zeta Gundam's shield was the most vital part during the Wave Rider mode, since it's bound the left and right flying armor and serves as the Wave Rider mode's nose. In addition to high durability as a shield, the heat insulation was also exceptional since it was needed to protect the body unit from extreme heat. Despite its capabilities, these were still concerns that damages the shield could hinder the functions of the Wave Rider mode. The shield adopted a retracted state in the Wave Rider mode and could rescind in Mobile Suit mode, where it was usually mounted on the left forearm. The inside of the shield could be equipped with a pair of optional grenade launchers.
It's a good place to put them.
Yeah. So now we have the FXA-03M2 Hyper Mega Launcher. So developed from the Hakashiki's Mega Bazooka Launcher, the Hyper Mega Launcher was an ultra-high output beam rifle or beam weapon made for the Zeta Gundam, equipped with a small generator, thrusters, and even landing gears. The Hyper Mega Launcher was essentially a small gunship without a cockpit. It could be used by the Zeta Gundam in Mobile Suit mode or mounted as a fixed weapon under the Wave Rider mode. Like the Zeta Gundam's beam rifle, the Hyper Mega Launcher could emit a beam blade from its barrel, turning into a long beam saber.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, this was awesome.
Ridiculous looking, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now we have the HBAZ-87AE/version 004 Hyper Bazooka. So this is a weapon borrowed from the RX-178 Gundam Mark II. It is cartridge fed and capable of carrying 7 rounds per cartridge, plus 1 round in the chamber. And it's just a Hyper Bazooka.
Yeah.
So now going into the special equipment and features. So we have the biosensor, so a quasi-psychocom device developed by Anaheim Electronics. Although its full capabilities are unknown, its primary purpose is to allow a new type pilot to more easily interface with his mobile suit via mental commands. The biosensor can also have a rather surprising side effect when the pilot is mentally and emotionally focused enough, usually when angry or upset, to cause the biosensor to amplify the power, speed, and strength of the mobile suit for a short period of time. Notably, during the final battle against Sekiro's The O, the power of the biosensor was combined with guidance from the spirits of Camille's fallen comrades, enabling the Zeta Gundam to launch a devastating ramming attack in Wave Rider mode and mortally wounded Sekiro and destroyed the O, as well as the entire Duperis. Yeah. This was cool.
It was
And
kind of crazy.
also a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
As we find out later.
Not great.
We have sealant launchers. So the device, this device sprays a sticky sealant, similar to a wall film used to mend breaches in the warship hulls. The substance can be used to seal ruptures in spacecraft and space colony exteriors. By the time of the Jerpus conflict, most mobile suits have sealant launchers built into their fingers, as well as utility devices such as signal flare launchers, dummy dispensers, and fire extinguishers. Which is, yeah, that's a must.
Fire extinguishers are very smart.
The sealant's smart. I mean, oh my god, the amount of freaking times their ship gets hit.
Yeah. Pretty much all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the MS-06F Zaku 2 head. You might be thinking, why is there a Zaku 2 head? So after losing the head in the earlier battle against the AMX-103 Hamahama and the AMX-104R Jara, the Zeta Gundam was hastily repaired by Inyo Abev using an old Zaku 2 head due to the lack of spare parts, and so that it could assist the Double Zeta in battle. This Zeta Zaku 2 head was salvaged by Judo Ashita in between the battles from the asteroid field and towed back to the Argama. While this Zeta Zaku was operational, the old Zaku 2 head caused the cockpit screen to revert to the old non-360 degree display, leaving Eno vulnerable to enemies that could sneak up on him from areas that he could not see. This is obviously in the events of Double Zeta.
And also, speaking of things that look ridiculous, that is one of them.
Yeah, and that theme song.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that theme. I hate that theme song with a burning passion. Oh my god. Anyway. With that being said, let's take a quick mid-break. Thank our listeners, and we'll be right back.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garden and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
It's a Gundam!
All right, welcome to the middle of the show. We're going to talk about everything with the podcast that has nothing to do with the lore of Gundam. Here, we want to thank all of our amazing listeners. Thank you all so much for supporting the show and listening. If you want to support the show, there's a few options you can do. You can go to patreon.com/the Gundam Lorecast, where you can get ad-free episodes, or even join us once a month on the show itself. You can also leave us ratings review on Apple and Spotify. Leave 5-star review on Apple with some words or a nice Spotify comment. Read it out loud the next time on the show, which we do have a comment this week on our last week's episode, or the last episode we did, Destiny Gundam, from Cell, saying, another great episode. Have you guys played the new SD Gundam SD Mobile Suit game at all? And if you are you liking it? It's not exactly what I expected, but it's a fun way to kill time. Do you guys have a favorite series for the way the mobile suits are designed? So, like how the Gundams and Iron-Blooded Orphans have frame stuff like that. For me, it's a tie between Iron-Blooded Orphans and I'm assuming Witch of Mercury.
Yeah.
G-Witch.
That would be
I'm
my best
I'm
guess.
assuming Witch of Mercury. Yes, we are both playing it. I'm playing it heavily. I already completely maxed out the designs in the original Mobile Suit series and Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta. Currently working through, did all of Seed, missing just the 4 units they don't have in the game already, which they're supposed to be updating on the 30th. So by the time this episode comes out, it's already going to be done. And then I'm only like, I think 6 units left to design in Gundam Wing, so I'm almost done with that too. So
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot. I have 3 URs currently: Striker Custom, the Sabazi, and the Unicorn Gundam Destroy Mode. So there's that.
Yeah, I have not played it nearly as much. I do also have 3 URs, but I have
Which you
not
just
played it
pulled
nearly
one
as-
before.
Okay, yes, I did pull one right before we recorded. I pulled Lissigna. I think it's Lissigna. I don't know. It's French. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not good with French words. There's too many vowels. And then
Go on.
I would say Barbatos 6th form and Gundam EX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to get to Gundam Mobile Fighter G Gundam, because this will be the first SD Gundam game, generation game that I've played that will have G Gundam in it. So I'm super excited for that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I enjoy it. I love all the G generation stuff. So
yeah,
I may or may had someone come in with a bunch of trades the other day, and they had Dead or Alive 3 Fortune, which is a 18 plus game, by the way, if anybody wants to know. It's PEGI. It's 18. It's not PEGI, but it's 18 plus, so it's can't take it. And they had Gundam Breaker 3 Break Edition and SD Gundam G Generations Genesis for the PS4.
crazy.
All per PS4. I may or may not have taken the G Generation Genesis, so because they didn't want them, but we don't take them, so they just gave it to us.
Fair.
So I just took it.
Yeah.
So even though I already have them on Switch.
Fair enough.
So, with that being said, also we are also on a few different Discord servers: the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my own Discord server, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show and all the other shows that I host, which are Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Witcher Lorecast, and the Wizarding War Lorecast, all a part of Robots Radio. So check all those shows out. A lot of great stuff, a lot of great fun. And yeah. And then as far as new stuff goes, we have an Overwatch 2 collab, which is, I don't know how I feel about that.
The skins look really cool, but
do they though?
Maybe not hot take. Marvel Rivals is a better hero shooter.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe I would say probably not a hot take at this point, but
sorry.
I like how the skins, especially the Mercy wing looks really good to me.
Okay, that one just looked good.
And
I don't like any of the others.
I like the tall geese, even though it looks goofy, because the tall geese looks goofy to begin with.
Fair.
But
fair. We're also getting a free comic book on Free Comic Book Day for Gundam Wing, because it's the 30th anniversary of Gundam Wing, so which is really awesome. Looks like the optional part Gunpla 16 meter hopper goes on sale on the 26th. So as of you're hearing, this is obviously already out. It's the motorcycle that the Fenice rides on in Build Fighters.
Fantastic.
And then they did announce the Gundam Metaverse is opening for a limited time from Sunday, April 20th, featuring a digital exhibition of the life-size Gundam statue and a Hatsumiku collaboration live event. So, there's that too.
Which I'm sure will be ridiculous and very entertaining.
And there's a cross-contrast colors editions of Master Grade Gundam Epion Endless Waltz and Wing Gundam Zero Endless Waltz go on sale on the 26th as well on the Gundam base stores, which look awesome. purple and red
I
Epion
want
and
them.
silver gold Wing Zero.
I want.
Which are really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And
I want them.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then obviously SD Gundam G Generations is now available on Apple and Android. So go download that. It's free. It's great things to play. So, yeah. That's it. That's all I have for news. But what now?
I was just going to say, so we didn't ignore the second half of your question. Which suit designs are your favorite? I do like the I Am Blooded Orphan ones, even though they're super weird. But 00 probably has my favorite, like, build design.
00, or for me would be 00, or I mean, I really like Seed. Not gonna
That's
lie,
fair.
Seed's probably one of my favorites. I love Seed. Seed's great.
I love in 00. So it was something we talked about with Jim a couple of weeks ago. Was like when Nodley comes out, it's just such a sick thing. Like, it's like, okay, the armor pops off and here's a whole other Gundam inside.
Mm-hmm. Fair. That's true. So, yeah, all great stuff. But let's get back into more of the Zeta.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
So now we're going to get into the history of the Zeta. So for its development, so the early UC 0086, shortly before the completion of the Rick DS, the AU contracted Anaheim Electronics with the development of a transformable mobile suit and met with the following requirements. A head height less than 20 meters in mobile suit mode, a transformation time less than 0.5 seconds, which is freaking fast.
Yeah.
The ability to operate both in space and on Earth, and the ability to re-enter the atmosphere without the use of optional equipment. That's a high order, I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, that's a tall task to answer, too.
Mm-hmm. So of these requirements, number 1 and 3 were especially vital. Unlike its opponent, the Titans, AUG lacked the facilities and funds to make the large mobile armors, and could only deploy regular-sized mobile suits. In addition, since the Titans possess many bases on Earth, ground combat ability was considered essential.
That makes sense.
In order to make these meet these requirements, the AU gathered a team of top engineers, including General Technology Observer Dr. Alexandro Pilsudski.
Pilsudski.
Sure. Transformation System and Movable Frame Developer Dr. Gerard Gluck, generator and thermonuclear rocket/jet engine developer Dr. Oscar Lyrell. In January, UC0086, the Transform Mobile Suit development plan known as Project Zeta began. So, and then at the time, movable frame was recognized by all mobile suit developers as a revolutionary technology to its potential for increased energy efficiency, ease of maintenance, and expandability. However, no one was able to develop a practical and reliable movable frame with a suitable size. It was considered a dream technology. Nonetheless, Dr. Filipsky boldly advocated for Project Zeta mobile suits to adopt the movable frame, believing that only machines boldly incorporating the latest technology would be worthy of the project, where the AUG and its technical team's prestige was at stake. And the Titans were a bunch of a-holes.
All the time. They're like the jocks.
Yes. Oh my god, yes, they were. And what's his face? The one that kept going after Camille for stupid reasons.
I can't remember his name, but
Camille was also like kind of like going after him for stupid reasons himself until he killed his own mom.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, however, the AUG super echelons and even those within the project expressed doubts about their decision, and with many suggesting that the tried and true block structure, as adopted by the Earth Federation forces, transformable mobile suit armors, would be more reliable and appropriate for the project, where failure was unacceptable. The tremendous development costs for movable frame only added to such doubts. However, Dr. Pulaski ignored such doubts and pushed onward. In the early UC0087, the military conflicted between the AUG and the Titans began intensifying. The Zeta project completed 2 prototype mobile suits equipped with the full-size movable frames, the MSA-005 Methus and the MSN-001 Delta Gundam. The project was landed for having completed 2 mobile suits from scratch at a mere 1 year after the start of the project, with the people likening it to the famed RX project, which also gave birth to the RX-78-2 Gundam in a short time.
Fair enough,
so both projects gave birth to Gundams really quick. Which the Delta is eventually, I think, became the Hakushiki, or the Hakushiki became the Delta, one of the two.
Yeah, it's the Hakushiki is what it turns into it eventually.
Developed into the Hakushiki. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. So, based on the data collected from these 2 units, the culmination of the project, the MSZ-006 Zeta Gundam was to be produced. However, at the point, the project ran into a serious, seemingly insurmountable hurdle with the movable frame durability. The Delta Gundam suffered a serious stress to the central block while transforming under high G, leading to an uncontrollable distortion in its torso frame. Since the cockpit and generator were located in the torso, damage to it could be fatal. Therefore, several design changes were made, such as altering the weight distribution and reinforcing the frame, but a definitive solution could not be found. Ultimately, the Delta Gundam was to be completed as non-transforming MSN-00100 Hakushiki. So, yeah. In late March, UC0087, just after the AUG attack on Side 7, Dr. Pulaski was summoned by the AUG upper management. When asked about the outlook of the project, the doctor had no specific plan in mind, but it was answered that he had already identified the issues with the 2 prototypes that would create the MS worthy of being the true TMS, bearing the name Zeta. Upon hearing this, the upper management demanded the presentation of the Zeta Gundam's basic design within 2 weeks. Oh, geez.
A short turnaround.
Yeah. Faced with the seamlessly impossible odds, the project team made no progress during the first week, as some had began speculating about Dr. Pulaski's responsibility and need to reconsider the project. The situation was burrowed to the attention of the AUG chairman, Milana Hugh Carmine, who reportedly said, "I will not allow the project to be buried like the one in 83. This was a battle for us to stand at the top of the MS industry. No matter what, we must develop the best TMS, no matter how much resources and fund it takes. If anyone objects, come to me and talk to me directly." Jeez. Okay.
Fair enough.
So meanwhile, Dr. Gluck had a hit of a complete dead end. The engineers in the frame department came up with several frame proposals, but none of them solved the problem completely. What ultimately saved him was the blueprint of a newly designed small generator by Dr. Liel from the generator/engine development department, a groundbreaking invention. The generator exhibited stable performance while being less than half the size of the existing generators. Which, that would help a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So although this generator had the output of less than 100 kW, Dr. Gluck came up with the idea of placing the generator outside the torso with the space freed up in the torso. He conceived the idea of the structure that prioritized strength. The low output of the generator could be resolved by equipping multiple generators. Based on this concept, the frame department devised a new type of frame. The basic design of the Zeta Gundam was determined, featuring generators inside both legs and the ultra-compact co-generator inside the torso, a completely unprecedented structure, and further incorporating data from the Gundam Mark II's movable frame and the concept of equipping it with flying armor for atmospheric entry. The design plans for the Zeta Gundam were completed. These plans were delivered to Dr. Plotsky just before the design plan submission deadline. In essence, they had completed the design plans in only 1 week. In early May, the testing of the prototype and various parts began, and the plan gained momentum. However, the non-technical obstacle emerged since the AU had scheduled an attack on Jaburo on May 11th with the aim of annihilating the Titans. With factions within AU began to question the necessity of the Zeta Gundam. With such options arising from the client, rumors began circulating that the plan would be canceled. Ultimately, the petition from the engineers to the upper management was strong enough from Carbine. The project was allowed to continue. In the end, the AU failed to achieve their strategic objectives in the Jaburo attack. Blah, 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 blah. I can't talk. I've been talking way too much today. So, however, a new problem arose at this point. The output balance among the distributed generators were not achieved. In particular, the balance of the generators and the legs were poor, resulting in an output difference in nearly double the maximum output. The leg generators were directly linked to the thrust of the leg thrusters, which were the main propulsion of the Wave Rider mode. If this could not be corrected, it would make the Wave Rider mode unstable. Since the leg generators exhibited a stable output during individual bench tests, it was believed that there were issues with the capacitors and computers responsible for synchronizing and managing the various generators. As a result, Dr. Liel summoned engineers from the Hervik company who had experience in synchronized capacitor technology capable of stabilizing the output of multiple generators simultaneously, a technology originally used by the Core Fighter series. They developed an advanced version of the synchronized capacitors and were also installed in a new type of computer capable of integrating the parallel processing information from the generators. They succeeded in maintaining the output difference between the left and right generators within a 0.01%. Which is good, by the way. Afterwards, adjustments were made to the OS and programs assisting various thrusters, fire control, and basic control in different modes and / environments. There were a few minor issues, but the project itself progressed smoothly. In the early July, the Zeta Gundam was complete at the AU von Brand factory. After approximately 1 month of testing, it was deployed to the front lines in early August. So this Zeta Gundam came out within like a year and a half of its being started, which is really quick for a brand new technology.
Yeah.
So moving into the Grips conflict, early in the Grips conflict, Camille, having just stolen the Gundam Mark II, had ideas of upgrading his unit. Astronej Medaz? Astronez? I don't know how you say that name.
Yeah, I don't.
Medaz observed and complimented Camille's design, which inspired by both the Mark II and the RMS 099 Workdays. Camille referred to it as Zeta Gundam. Later, to prepare the entry into the atmosphere, Astronaj informed Camille that they had completed the prototype for the Zeta Gundam. So, replacing the Gundam Mark II as his personal mobile suit, Camille obtained the Zeta Gundam after returning to space from the Hong Kong incident involving 4 Mursame. Screaming into battle, the sleek convertible mobile suit took all the Titans' forces by surprise. With its incredible performance and attack potential, Camille led many successful missions against the Titans in the AU turn the tide of the war. The Zeta was responsible for battling and ultimately killing the Titans' leader, Papatus Securo, besting his powerful mobile suit, the PMX-003, the O. However, Camille was rendered into a vegetative state by a final psychic attack from Securo. Both the Zeta Gundam and Camille was later recovered by AU pilot Faye Yuri. He's a vegetable.
Yeah.
Goes into basically a comatose vegetable state. It's
now, listeners, you may remember that we may have mentioned in the past how many Gundam series don't end well for the protagonist. Well,
here's one.
Yeah. Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Zeta. Moving on to the first Neo-Zeon War. So after ongoing repairs, the Zeta Gundam was mainly piloted by the new type Jadu Ashta to battle the Neo-Zeon forces. During the battle with the Mashmir, Silos, AMX-103 Hamahama, and Shara Sone's AMX-104R Jara, the Zeta's head was destroyed by the Hamahama's shield beam gun. Due to a shortage of spare parts aboard the Arama, the Zeta Gundam was temporarily repaired using the salvage MS-06F Zaku 2's head, thus earning the nickname Zeta Zaku. The temporary fix by Ino Abav worked, however, the cockpit screen reverted to the old-fashioned display, as the Zaku 2 head was not built with the 360-degree panoramic cockpit. Yeah. Which kind of sucks. Goofy. And it does look extremely goofy.
It ruins a lot of the point.
Mm-hmm. So when Judai switched to the newer MSV-010 Double Zeta Gundam, Rox Luca became the Zeta Gundam's main pilot. Judai would occasionally trade mobile suits with Rox, as the Zeta Gundam was better suited for speed and mobility. The Zeta Gundams operated until the end of the war, being crippled by Please 2's NZ-000 Queen Mansa. However, the Zeta Gundam got in one final fatal shot before being abandoned, killing Galimi Toto and destroying the Queen Mansa. I'm trying to remember what the Mansa looked like. Oh, okay. Oh, that would have eventually become the Kirashibi, right? Or whatever it's called. From Unicorn.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's called. But yes.
Kshatriya. Thank you. Yeah, it eventually become the Kshatriya. Okay, cool. And then in alternate media, in Char's counterattack, High Streamer, Amuro asked Bright why the Zeta Gundam and the Hakushiki were not available to them, to which Bright answered after the end of the Gyps conflict, the Federation government considered Gundams to be as dangerous as nuclear weapons, and locked them away in a secret location known only to the top officials of the Federation Parliament. Not even John Breyer was able to overturn this decision. Hence why, when we get to Unicorn, there's no Gundams around. until the unicorn shows up. In UC-0097, a Zeta Gundam replica constructed by Anaheim Electronics is deployed for a special mission in the combat of EARM terrorist group Mobile Armor Larius. The particular unit was piloted by a freelance mercenary, Johnny, call sign Lightning. Which, I want to say this is this from... this is from Mobile Suit Variation. Okay. And later in UC-0100, the Zeta Gundam was restored exclusively for the UC-0100 ceremony to perform flight demonstrations. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then we do have quite a few variants. We have what is this one? Is this just Zeta? It's just called the Zeta? Derived of the Zeta Gundam. This is designed by Kazushia Kondo and it appeared in several. So this is the revival of Zeon. It was just like a blueprint kind of a thing. There's full armor Zeta Gundam, half Zeta Gundam, Zeta Gundam wave shooter equipment type, Zeta Plus A1, Zeta Gundam Unit 2, the Z Plutonius, Z Prompt, Zeta Gundam C type, Zeta Easy, Zeta Gundam 3A type, Zeta Gundam 3B type, Zeta Gundam P2/3C type, Zeta Gundam Strike Zeta, and the Zeta Gundam Eye Field Claw and Eye Booster, or Eye Field Blaster. Yeah, there's a lot of...
So many.
There's a lot of different freaking versions of the Zeta Plus A, I know. A1, I do know that one.
Plutonius is one of the ones from one of the build series, isn't it?
Plutonius is from... No, it's from Moon Crisis. 00 Mobile Suit Gundam in UC-0099 at Moon Crisis. The Zeta Gundam Plus A1 is in the novel of Gundam Sentinel. Let's see, Gundam Z Prompt. I think is that from Moon Crisis as well. Yep, that's also in Moon Crisis. The 3A type is from Gundam Neo Experience 0087 Green Divers. It's one of the short anime films of Gundam Evolve, which is that weird CG thing they did.
Yeah.
What's the Strike Zeta? It's from Osu, featuring the masterpiece of Few Arms Design series. So, meh. And featuring the game Mobile Suit Gundam UC Engage. This is the Zeta Gundam equipped with the claw-shaped eye field generator in its right arm and physical sword on its left arm. The physical sword can also be used in a gun, used as a beam rifle. This is the Zeta Gundam eye field claw and eye field blaster.
Yeah, that one's ridiculous.
Yeah, and UC Engage has some interesting, unique designs on some of the mobile suits. Like, I was thinking about doing the UC or the Gundam Engage, but there's like zero info on it because it's just a unit in UC Engage.
Yeah.
So, we do have some behind the scenes. We have the 1996 Master Grade Zeta Gundam manual stated that it was depicted with the Zeta Gundam around December UC 0087 when it received readjustments upon receiving the Hyper Mega Launcher based on the accumulation data operating data. Dengeki Data Collection labeled a line art of the Master Grade Zeta Gundam as Zeta Gundam near the end of the GIPS conflict, suggesting the Master Grade Zeta Gundam was an in-universe variant of the Zeta rather than the out-of-universe redesign. Later in 2012, sourcebook Master Archive Mobile Suit, the MSV-006Z Gundam, illustrated by Kiyoshi Takagawa, established that the Zeta Gundam had actually had 3 variants: the initial model, July UC0087 through December UC0087, the mid-model, December UC0087 to March UC0088, and the late model, March UC0088 through current time, each with slight differences. In 2018, the high-grade Universal Century model Zeta Gundam UC0088 was released as a premium Bandai exclusive. According to the project description, this model was designed as a Zeta Gundam at the time of the first Neo-Zeon War. After undergoing numerous minor changes, the model appeared to be original design and did not resemble the late model introduced in the Master Archive. Which is pretty cool in my opinion.
That is pretty cool.
And it should be noted that the Zeta Gundam's in-show design remained unchanged in both Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta and Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta, and all of the A-formation variants were created afterwards. Because that's how Gundam works.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we do have some notes and trivia. So the Zeta Gundam's name is derived from Zeta, which is the 6th letter of the Greek alphabet, which may be referenced to its model number.
That would make sense.
Zeta is the first Gundam to lack the traditional face vents and having a white-shaped chin instead of the traditional red, blocky-shaped one, and it also has the first Gundam shown a double V fin rather than single. Fair. That's also true.
Yeah, I was just saying, there weren't that many opportunities for it to happen beforehand.
Right. The Zeta Gundam also is also one of the first transformable Gundams televised. The Zeta Gundam never transformed into its Wave Rider mode during its brief time as the Zeta Zaku. It's unclear if it was able to do so with the Zaku head. No, it couldn't do it with the Zaku head. It wouldn't be able to go into the body. Duh. Yeah, that's not how the shapes work. Just saying. Shapes don't work like that. No. And the VMS-AWRS marking on its chest armor on the 1/100th scale grade master grade box art refers to the name as its transformation mechanism. It stands for a variable mobile suit and Wave Rider system. So, yeah, that's what we got. That's the Zeta Gundam. Ugh. But, any final thoughts or anything on the Zeta?
Aside from in the UC, for sure. I don't know about the rest. Zeta is the one suit that has, like, the highest number of named people actually piloted.
Yes. Yes, it does. It has the most pilots.
Which is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah, because it helps that it's in 2 different series. That's why.
Yeah.
So
it
there's
gives a lot of opportunities to be piloted.
Mm-hmm. Compared to most of the other Mobile Suits series where, hey, one pilot has one specific Gundam. They don't change unless it gets destroyed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, cool. Well, everybody, thank you again for listening to the Gundam Lorecast. And remember, pilots, stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to the Gundam Lorecast. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Ben and Friends podcasting Discord, where you can share how you got into the Gundam series, and you can even find us on Twitter at Gundam Lorecast, and even email us at gundamlorecast@outlook.com.